Hello and good afternoon. My name is Rochelle Dent and I'm the Senior Specialist for Project Reinvest. We're excited that you will join us today to review the second of 3 Project Reinvest grant opportunities, Project Reinvest Neighborhoods. A few housekeeping rules before we begin. At the far bottom left of the screen is a microphone icon. Clicking the icon toggles between active and mute. Please mute your lines. This avoids any potential background disturbances. To ensure the best sound quality over voice, we recommend you use your headphones. This call will be recorded and will be posted on our website for future playback. Also, the chat box will be available during the webinar. Please send your questions to everyone. Next, Leanne Adams, Program Director, Project Reinvest, will discuss the background of this project.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to provide a brief background about Project Reinvest in general. As many of you know, NeighborWorks received funding as a result of the Department of Justice settlement with Bank of America. And the funding was intended to provide housing counseling, neighborhood stabilization, foreclosure prevention, or similar programs. We have designed 3 different funding opportunities intended to maximize benefit for communities and individuals impacted by the foreclosure crisis. This particular opportunity, the first opportunity, is Project Reinvest Homeownership, which is designed to provide deferred down payment assistance lending to low to moderate income individuals. Project Reinvest Neighborhoods, which is this opportunity, is designed to promote stabilization or revitalization in areas hit by foreclosure. And lastly, the third opportunity, which will open in January, is Financial Capability, which is designed to assist individuals in stabilizing their finances, rebuilding credit, and establishing savings. At this time, we're going to talk about Project Reinvest Neighborhoods specifically. If you do have questions about the other opportunities, I would ask that you direct those to our inbox, projectreinvest@nw.org. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah Sturdivant, and I'm a program manager with Project Reinvest Neighborhoods. I'm going to talk briefly, give an overview on the program, and then turn it over to my colleague, Nick Salerno, to talk about the application specifically. So Project Reinvest Neighborhoods will provide grant funding to eligible 501c3 nonprofit organizations to help stabilize and revitalize distressed communities suffering from the direct or indirect effects of the foreclosure crisis. Proposed projects should support and further existing multifaceted place-based initiatives working to transform communities. So multifaceted place-based initiative refers to a strategic, intentional effort to coordinate multiple, often diverse activities in the same place to leverage, impact, and create lasting change in that place. Looking at our timeline, today we are hosting this webinar. Our application was launched on November 28th and will close on January 9th. Our application review period will be January through March, and our award determinations will be made in March of 2017. A total of $26,500,000 in non-federal funds are available through this grant program. NeighborWorks America estimates that approximately 53 grantees will be selected through a national competitive process. Awards will be made in the amount of $500,000 per grantee to support eligible physical improvement and broader community revitalization activities. A maximum of $50,000 of total grant award is available for overhead, administrative costs, and staff training from that $500,000. So in terms of targeting, census level tract level data being used to target communities in areas hard hit by foreclosure is what we're looking at. The methodology includes indicators for foreclosure, vacancy rates, homeownership rates, and cost burden renter rates. Those are the census tracts that will be included in looking at that methodology.
So my name is Nick Salerno. I'm the Senior Program Manager for Project Reinvest Neighborhoods, and I'm briefly going to go over the application, the sections, as well as what documents are a part of that application. So the application has been split into a number of sections. One, just a general applicant information. 2, place, where the applicant is describing where they are proposing their project to take place. the strategy, proposed activities, the impact, capacity, which includes demonstrated experience, and then a list of acknowledgements. Also, as part of your application, you're required to provide a few documents, one being a grantor reference letter that states that your organization has experience in managing a grant at minimum of $50,000, that you're required to provide a budget that outlines the different sources and uses for the $500,000 for your projects, a work plan template that provides an overview of your proposed project, split by milestones, as well as proposed estimate expenditures, as well as proposed physical or project completion, excuse me. And the last piece being an eligibility check template, which you will provide your addresses to your proposed project, your physical improvement project, for us to verify that they meet the eligible census tract requirement. Here I have a list of other uploads that are required as part of your application, where you can find this in the funding announcement as well as the application guide. I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but just the basics are IRS affirmation and determination letter demonstrating your tax exempt status as a 501c3 nonprofit, a certificate of good standing or like, as well as the most recent audited financial statement. And here is just an additional application to upload for your application. Some of them are resumes of your organization project managers, as well as a map of your target area for where you propose your project. So this is a list of kind of how we plan to evaluate your application. It's just basically split into the different titles or sections of the application. So for each of the areas placed, you're going to have a demonstrated understanding of the target area. For strategy, you have a vision or strategic approach that addresses the needs, strengths, and market conditions of the place. For proposed activity, you have a demonstrated how you demonstrate how the proposed project relates to the multifaceted place-based initiative. For impact, you're explaining the effects that these eligible activities will have on the target area and describe how these activities will relate to the vision of the multifaceted place-based initiative. And then for your capacity, it's the experience as it relates to the proposed projects and previously completed activities. Next, we move into more of the activities during the program, the performance period of the grant in terms of the reporting that's being required as part of Project Reinvest Neighborhoods. So we will have monthly reports, quarterly reports, and a final report. The monthly reports are to ensure that your project is on target as it relates to your work plan, where you'll have self-reporting % of project completion with a brief update, and as well as your total budgeted amount expended at that time. Your quarterly performance reports will include milestone achievements with photo documentation, best practices learned, challenges encountered, and any upcoming events, marketing materials, or announcements that you may have planned or even completed during that previous quarter. As for your final report, it's summarizing the outputs, outcomes, and other results of the project, and it's due within 30 days from the date of the project completion. In terms of compliance, key compliance factors may include but are not limited to the appropriate management and use of funds, compliance with quality control and compliance measures conducted by NeighborWorks staff and or third-party contractors, which may include financial audit reviews, file audits, and other measures, compliance with all applicable state and federal laws, rules, and regulations, and maintenance of all necessary licenses. And now I'm going to hand it over to Graham Sano, who is our grants management specialist.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Nick. So I just want to walk through some components, the logistical components of accessing and submitting a Project Reinvest Neighborhoods application. So as you can see, in an effort to better serve applicants and grantees, NeighborWorks America has implemented a new grant system that is open and live now. Project Reinvest Neighborhoods is the second funding opportunity after homeownership to utilize this new system. And the URL for accessing this system, as you can see on the screen, is neighborworks.flux, fluxx.io. In order to begin an application for Project Reinvest Neighborhoods, you will first need to register your organization to gain access to this new grants portal system. All prospective applicants who have not yet registered in this new system, including those who are prior NeighborWorks America grantees, will need to complete this process. And I just want to note that login credentials from NeighborWorks America's previous system, GrantWorks, will not function in the new system. So just an overview of the registration process for the portal. To submit a registration from the portal homepage, you can click Create an Account Now and complete all of the required registration fields. Registration is restricted to authorized officials that have the authority to submit a grant application on behalf of their organization. And I'll speak a bit more about user types and permissions in just a moment. We are limiting registration to 1 per organization, and your registration may take up to 2 business days to be reviewed and approved. If it is approved, you'll receive a confirmation email from the system that includes a link to generate your username and create a new password. Once you've set up your password, the registration process is complete and you can log directly into the portal. So as I mentioned a moment ago, there are 2 security roles defined for the grants portal: authorized official and organization editor. And here on the screen, you can see the permissions associated with each user type. And so just to highlight, authorized officials have full rights, including creating, deleting, and submitting an application, whereas an organization editor can only edit and save a draft application. Just to kind of expound upon what each of these titles means. So an organization's authorized official would be a senior manager within the organization that has the authority to approve and enter into contracts and agreements with third parties. And at the time of registration, an authorized official can add up to 5 organization editors to its organization profile. And these, as I mentioned, have permission to work on the application but cannot delete or submit the application. And just to reiterate, you can, at the time of registration, submit a registration for up to 5 of each of these user types. In order to help navigate this process, we created a grants portal user guide, which is available on the Project Reinvest homepage. And this guide has detailed information on both portal registration and the steps necessary to successfully complete and submit a Project Reinvest Neighborhoods application within the portal. And we do highly recommend that you review this guide prior to using the system or beginning your application for this funding opportunity. That contains some really important information that we think will help guide you through the process and simplify everything. So you can see here on the screen just kind of an overview of what's available within that guide. In addition to the user guide, we've also created the Project Reinvest Neighborhoods application guide. So after you've successfully registered and have access to the system, we highly recommend that you review this application guide to learn more about how to successfully submit a neighborhoods application. It's really worth looking at the guide in its entirety and keeping it close for reference as you work through your application and complete it. It includes, in addition to kind of some general reminders about the application, it includes a complete list of the application questions with additional guidance and clarifying information for a handful of questions within the application. It also includes some information about what reviewers will be looking for in your answers to these questions, some tips on how to ensure your hard work is not lost due to any technical difficulties, and finally, important information about the program's policies on incomplete applications and our policy of no resubmission. The guide also includes at the bottom an application upload checklist, which I believe was included a few slides earlier, so that you can reference this while you gather the required materials in one place to submit your application successfully. Following the checklist, I did also want to mention that the guide walks the user through technical details of application submission, including times and availability of technical support. We highly recommend that you submit your full application before the final day of the application deadline so we can avoid any technical delays. And worth noting that no applications will be accepted after the stipulated deadline without exception. There will be a limited number of support staff available to assist applicants with their application submission, and calls as we approach the deadline, calls will be answered on a first come, first served basis. And that's all I have for logistics, and I will kick it back to Leanne.
So NeighborWorks America is pleased to offer a series of open question and answer sessions with Project Reinvest staff for 30 minutes each to discuss Project Reinvest Neighborhood's timeline, program details, and more. The first session will be held on December 9th. Please visit the Project Reinvest Neighborhoods webpage for more information. Lastly, if you want to learn more about Project Reinvest overall, please visit the Project Reinvest webpage. Please also visit the Project Reinvest Neighborhoods page for specific information on that grant opportunity. And if you have any technical support questions or technical related issues, please call our technical support line at 1-866-720-1807. And we also have, for all other inquiries, please email projectreinvest@nw.org.